Chapter 58-63. Jinnu led the people, directly stopped several Six Tribulations realm powerhouses headed by Bru, and chose to fight in midair. The Five Tribulations realm is below, mingled with the Four Tribulations realm. As soon as the battle started, it was already a little messy. Although there are many strong people on the human side, they don't have any tactics. Basically, they are fighting each other. A small circle was drawn out. The strong on the side of the country huddled together for warmth. The side of the secret realm is not so united, and is not familiar with it at all, and can only fight separately. This gave the Bwoluan family a great advantage. Elder Jones and Zachary continued to shuttle, each attracting more than 10 Five Tribulations realm powerhouses. This also eased the rest of the Belunga clan's powerhouses. Elder Jones and Zach are both in the Five Tribulations realm, and their supernatural power is only about 750,000. It is not at all an opponent of dozens of Five Tribulations realm cosmos masters. But they just want to procrastinate. Drag until Bru broke out. The core battle is still in the sky. Blue versus Kainu. The four great sons of Belunga Holy Land are the 5 and 6 tribulations brought by Jinnu. The core battle circle is currently flat. The battle between Keanu and Blue has just begun, and the winner is not so fast. And Jinnu didn't show up all his strength, he has been playing around with Blue. Haha, I originally thought your strength was good, but I didn't expect it to be so weak. Jinnu dodged Bru's punch, raised his foot and kicked Bru's chest, directly kicking Bru into the battle group of the Five Tribulations realm below. But this kick hits Bru's arms. Bulu, who fell into the strong human race, stretched out his hand, fell from the top, and pushed deeply, killing several Five Tribulations realm strong in an instant. Standing in the sky, Jinnu also noticed Bru's small movements, but he didn't take it seriously. However, in order not to waste time, I went down slowly and took the initiative to search for Blue. Elders Zach and Jones attracted dozens of Five Tribulations universe masters behind them, and they had already arrived at Bru's side. The three nodded each. Bula's hands emitted countless light waves, directly impacting the Lord of the Five Tribulations realm universe who overtook him. Boom boom boom. The human side suffered heavy losses in an instant. The Empress frowned too. But she was not going to send anyone to support. Because she had already seen it, Gula didn't care about the battle at all. Moreover, the people of Kinho have also been teasing the strong men of the Belunga tribe. In that case, let them play well. It's better to be finished together. You coward, can you only bully the waste of the Five Tribulations realm? Jinnu swooped down and reached the ground. Stopped Bru's attack. Raising his hand, he said that the divine light wave sent by Bru bounced off. If you don't sweep away these trash fish, I don't want to fight with you. Bru sneered, and the speed skyrocketed and pulled away again. Begin to behead the Five Tribulations realm on the side of the secret realm. The powerhouses of the four great nations have already retreated to the extreme edge, afraid of affecting themselves. Jinnu threw himself into the air again, his face became cold, and he wanted to kill a few Belunga strong men, but found that those Belunga strong men were hiding behind Bru. This makes him extremely annoyed, this is to look down on him. Avoid the battle. If this is the case, then I will help you. Jinnu leaked his fangs, looked at the surrounding Five Tribulations, stretched out 2 fingers, suddenly lifted, and a terrifying power instantly swept around. Whether it is the strong on the human side or the strong on the Wave Wheel Plus side, all have turned into powder. Even the Dragon Mountain was split in half. The 3 people watching the battle on the top of the mountain quickly picked up the hip flask on the ground, worried about spilling the wine. How about it? Can you fight me now? Kinho stretched out his hand, his face grim. Bru didn't expect the opponent to be so ruthless, attacking directly and indiscriminately. Seeing this scene, the Empress took a deep breath without saying anything. To her, this is nothing. In order to become a saint, she gave up a lot. Gu can never lose this time. No amount of death can be said. Moreover, the strong people of the kingdom behind her, or the strong people of the secret realm, are also watching with cold eyes. Almost all the strong people who participated in the battle of the human race were on the whole team. No one left behind. Anyway, I went there, and there was no one of my own below. At this time, who will speak to them? It's best to die. The strong human race on the field is also unlucky. Without the protection of the Six Tribulations realm, it is just a lamb that has been slaughtered. After Brui's bullying, Janu also came to join in the fun. Thank you. A smile leaked from the corner of Brus's mouth, and he rose directly into the air. Most of the Five Tribulations realm on the ground are the strong men of their Palunga tribe. If you don't go up, after Jinyu is about to do something against the Five Tribulations realm powerhouse of their Palunga tribe. Upon seeing this, Kinho also soared into the sky, and once again fought with Bruce. Elder Jones and Zack had a sullen face, surrounding the Five Tribulations realm powerhouse on the human race side. Now they are the advantage. There were only 7 or 8 Five Tribulation realm powerhouses left on the human race. They couldn't retreat without the order of the Empress. Retreat? I am afraid that the Empress will kill them. I knew so, why bother to see this gluttonous feast? There are already 5 Tribulations realm powerhouse desperate. This time the fight of the Holy Meeting has just begun. In the past few scenes of annihilation of the team, was staged scene by scene. The Five Tribulations realm powerhouse of the Palunga tribe with huge advantages chooses to drag some human races one-on-one with the Five Tribulations realm master of the universe. The rest are going to besiege the remaining Five Tribulations realm universe masters. Very efficient. In just one stick of incense, all the 40 masters of the universe on the human side were beheaded. The Lord of the Universe in the Four Tribulations realm had the same fate. Awful. Except Jian Wushuang and Wu Li watching the battle. And those old guys from the ancient Wood School Holy Land were watching the battle. Seeing all the strong in one's own kingdom or secret territory fall. These robbers jumped in anger. One after another on the Vietnamese side of duty. The ancestor of the Seven Tribulations realm of Yu Kingdom closed his eyes tightly. He has become accustomed to being scolded. Li Sheng converted the wild beast and was scolded once. Jian Wushuang took refuge in the Palunga tribe and was scolded again. It is now the Empress Feng Chen, watching her hand go to death, she doesn't care about it. Every time, they are doing things in Vietnam. Although he was scolded, his heart was dark and cool. It's best to die. Really clean. Only Feng Chen was left. Even if the mission cannot be completed, the position of the saint must fall into Feng Chen's hands. Not to mention, that's what the Empress thinks now. Of course, this is only the worst plan. She still wanted to defeat Gula with her own strength to complete this task. Become a saint again. It doesn't matter how many humans on the human side die. She also doesn't worry about being troubled by outside forces. She is now the Lord of the Six Tribulations realm universe. And it was the pinnacle of the Six Tribulations realm. Although she hasn't reached the half-step 7 Tribulations realm yet, after going out and becoming a saint, she will soon be able to reach the half-step 7 Tribulations realm. Chapter 58-64. Will you still be afraid of those loose robberies? The future master seedling of the universe of the 7 Tribulations realm. Gumu faction will also protect it. People who die now are worth it. You will be successful. The battle below has ended. The powerhouse of the Balungia family killed all the powerhouses in the 5 Tribulations realm and the 4 Tribulations realm at a very small price. Now only the spectator is left. Waiting for Brus eruption. The battle in mid-air was extremely fierce. The 4 great sons of Longshan Mountain have fought back and forth with those of Jinyu. Both are more than 800,000 supernatural powers. There is no way to tell the winner for a time. Also look at Bru. Bru is the core. It's the same with Keanu. In the current battle between the two, Genuello has the upper hand. Kinyu, with 900,000 supernatural powers, played against Bru, with 890,000 supernatural powers. Both of them are magical Mahayana. No treasure is used. The pure fist and foot attack, as well as the waves of energy gathered by the divine power, made the world look pale. Boom. After the two collided again, they each stepped back, opened a distance, and looked for the next opportunity to shoot. After Jinyu took a breath, he said loudly, "It's so happy. It's been a long time since I met such a strong player. I really don't want to solve you, Bru sneered, and after glancing at the people below, his voice was cold and said, I really want to see how powerful your divine power is, and whether it is as powerful as I imagined. Ha ha. Jinyu laughed. Randomly clenched fists with both hands, a roar of supernatural power directly broke 900,000. Then I tell you, my supernatural power is 930,000. Keanu began to explode, the tendons on his forehead violently, and his divine power began to soar. In the later stage, every rise of divine power is extremely difficult. Often a difference of 10,000 to 20,000 can determine the victory. Keanu continued to explode, and it really reached a power of 930,000. The female emperor took a deep breath. She had expected Jinyu's strength, but she did not expect it to reach 930,000. Even Gula was very excited and praised loudly, Keanu, your progress is fast. The king is optimistic. When I kill him, I will clean up the rest. After Jinyu completely exploded in strength, he became even more relaxed. In mid-air, doing a series of strange movements. The Gula below, with a blushing face, whispered, come again. After seeing the other party's eruption, Bru's expression moved, and Kinho's supernatural power was somewhat beyond his expectation. But 930,000 does not mean that it cannot be defeated. What? Bru clenched his fist and raised his head and yelled, and his divine power began to soar. What? The white skin behind him was shattered. The divine power directly reached 900,000. Jinyu was very calm and commented, 900,000, which is really good. If you are not a Belunga, you can come to my Jinuite team. He had just finished speaking, only to discover that Bru's divine power had reached 900 and 100,000. You still have to hide, but 900 and 100,000 should be the limit. Jinyu pretended to relax and commented casually. But the corners of his mouth rose, and he burst out again, and his divine power went so far as to directly increase by 20,000. It reached 930,000. This is already on par with Keanu. Kinho was also a little panicked. I didn't expect the opponent to be so strong. The key to Bulis' breath is still rising. 94,000. Kinho's expression changed drastically. $95,000. The people watching the battle from below also exclaimed together. The face of the Empress changed. Wu Li at the top of GU was even more fascinated. He saw Bru's eruption of 950,000 supernatural powers, and after stabilizing his head, he happily pulled Danbao to celebrate. As long as the strong of the Belunga clan can stabilize, the two of them will be able to escape. Seeing Bru's divine power explode, he was naturally happy. How about it? Are you satisfied with the 95,000 5,000 power? Bru moved his neck, and the corners of his mouth rose randomly, and a flash came directly behind Jinyu. The arm was raised slightly, and then an elbow struck Keanu on the neck. Kinho's mind sank, and he just came up with clarity, wanted to counterattack, but found that Bru's figure was no longer visible. "I'm here." Bru didn't know when he was in front of Keanu again, and he pushed Bru out tens of thousands of feet on top of his head. Bru did not rush to solve Keanu. After repelling Keanu, he took advantage of the trend to the battle group of the four great suns. After flashing in, it was a massacre. The Gula below was also anxious and shouted angrily, "Stop him." Kinho rushed back desperately. But Bulu has already solved a Six Tribulations realm powerhouse. 95,000, fighting against the Six Tribulations realm with more than 800,000 supernatural powers, that would be overwhelming. Now the four great suns are playing against the Six Tribulations of the four Kinuite teams. Completely flat. But Bru has a big advantage against Keanu. Now is the time to solve the battle. Brutal's eyes leaked killing intent. Holding his left arm with his right hand, he began to distance himself with supernatural power. A powerful and unshakable force has been condensed at his fingertips. The Gula who issued the message quickly reminded, "Hurry up and get away. It's a pity it's too late." Bruce pointed his finger at Keanu and shouted, "The devil is used to killing waves." A branch line burst out instantly. Gina's figure was startled, wanted to hide but couldn't get out. Because the devil is used to killing waves, he can be locked on and there is no escape. He can only cover his chest with his arms. Boom. The condensed divine power of this light wave exceeded 950,000. It reached 980,000. It's Bru's limit. It is also his trick. Enough to kill Kainu in seconds. Just when everyone felt that Kinho was going to die, Keanu covered his front with his arms, but he leaked an unnoticeable smile. Jian Wushuang saw this detail. No good, fraud. Jian Wushuang had just finished speaking, and sure enough, something happened. After the light wave passed through Jinyu's chest, Jinyu disappeared. Elder Baloo was also taken aback. This is his strongest skill, it is impossible to be evaded. Just when he was surprised, the light wave reversed its direction and charged towards Bru. How could it be? Bru exclaimed. This attack comes with tracking the enemy. Now rush towards him, then Keanu is behind him. When he wanted to turn around, he was locked from behind by Keanu. Kinho's arm was like a cage, tightly bound to Bru. Haha, you are going to die under your own stunt. Kinho sneered, and I am the ultimate winner. There was Bruce in front of him, and the attack he received would indeed be much smaller. Bru also panicked. He knows his skills best. If you stay together like this, you will be seriously injured if you don't die. If he is seriously injured, only the 4 great saints are left, and they can't stop Gula at all. But Kinho locked him, unable to break free. What? At the last moment, Bru yelled angrily, and his divine power skyrocketed again. The golden light on her body flickered. He broke free of Keanu directly. Chapter 58-65. Gula below narrowed his eyes slightly, and the moment Bulu exploded, his divine power approached 1,000,000. This had to arouse his attention. Gula's eyes condensed, and he directly fixed Bruce in the air, unable to move his figure. Although only for a moment. But Jinyu reacted faster and locked Bruce again. Just now, Bruce's eruption fell down again in an instant. However, Keanu was still extremely shocked. The terrifying supernatural power just now has almost broken 1,000,000. Thinking of this, I was afraid for a while. But this time, Bru will be completely finished. Lightwave rushed and directly pierced Bru's chest, the divine body shattered directly, and the origin was collapsing. There is only one breath left. Keanu, who had locked Bru, was no better there. This time, a hole was punched out of his chest again, which was not an afterimage. It's a real deal. Even if the light wave weakened after passing through Bru, Jinus' divine power was not as strong as Bru. So his condition is similar to Bru's, both are seriously injured. But he still has something to do. The backhand took a fruit from the mustard and swallowed it. Divine power is also constantly rising. And Bruce has fallen. Jones and Zack on the ground hurriedly stepped forward to help, but Gula stared intently, and the two of them were seriously injured and retreated. The female emperor's eyes also flashed. She originally hoped that Bru would defeat Kinho and then lead Gula to take action. Gula is now shooting, but not completely. It seems that a little help from her is needed. Her Empress Feng Chen, her figure flashed, and she was in midair. Jinyu saw Feng Chen arriving behind him, he was taken aback, and quickly wanted to back off. But the body trembled unconsciously, unable to move. Empress Feng Chen, with a touch of red lips, her cold eyes, she just blinked, and when she opened it again, there was a corpse left in front of her eyes. Jinyu, who had a divine power of 920,000, was instantly killed. Although he was injured, he could recover more than 800,000 supernatural powers. It just died. Jian Wushuang on the top of the mountain stared at the crystal ball and his eyes trembled. He didn't even see the shot of the Empress just now. Keanu was destroyed. You follow him in the funeral too. The female emperor ran her fingers across her waist, and with a single tap, the 4-6 Tribulations realm fixed herself. Although the 4 great sons of the Balunga tribe were surprised that the Empress would take action against Jinyu, they did not hesitate to take action immediately. Completely beheaded all 4 of Keanu's men. Then they fell to the ground one after another, standing in front of Bru. Gula frowned, glanced at the stinky fish and shrimps behind him, and then looked up to the sky. This game shouldn't have ended so early. At this moment, Gula got up for the first time and walked off the throne. The Gula, who is short and thin, is the strongest person on the court. The breath shook suddenly, and the entire Dragon God mountain was trembling. The sword watching the battle on the top of the mountain was pale and white, and he hurriedly said to Dan Bao, "Let Bu come back. The human female emperor will definitely not be able to stop Gula. Let Bu come back to restore her supernatural power, and go to fight again." Dan Bao was stunned for a moment, but he felt that Jian Wushuang's words were reasonable, so he transmitted his voice to Bulu and the others. The powerhouses of the Palunga clan at the foot of the mountain also knew that the horror of Gula was beyond their reach. Taking advantage of Bru regaining some consciousness, he quickly activated the Long Shanshan formation and teleported Bru back. A circular black hole appeared in the air, and Bulu jumped in along the black hole. With this blood on the corner of his mouth, Bru fell directly to the ground. Dan Bao hurriedly stepped forward to help Bru recover. But Bru was injured too badly, and he didn't want to recover so quickly. Jian Wushuang could only be anxious. Looked at the crystal ball again. The remaining powerhouses of the Palunga clan should also come back. To stay is to wait for death. Gula personally end. The Empress is also preparing to fight. The two strongest confront each other. The female emperor stood in the air, with one hand on her hips, staring at Gula, but in private she was a powerful person who transmitted her voice to the human race. After she fought with Gula, the other strong men of the human race took the opportunity to kill all of Gula's remaining men. No one can stay. By the way, I also snatched the Dragon Ball. Can't let those people stand there to eat dry food. Gula moved his wrists, spread his hands and said calmly, "Can you start?" "Anytime." The female emperor retreated suddenly, flicking her sleeves, and flew out of the world. The red cuffs surround the Gula. Trapped into a ball. Do it. Dozens of Five Tribulations realm powerhouses on the human side rushed directly to the men of Gula like a torrent. There are only a dozen Five Tribulations realm left that can block the human race army. Li Sheng panicked and wanted to shout loudly, saying that they were all his own. But when the words came to my lips, I found that I looked like a wild beast. No one believed it. If you believe it, no one will keep it. Simply exploded divine power, ready to escape. The remaining subordinates of Gula can resist for a while after Sabo transforms. The rest were unable to resist. Was besieged and fell in an instant. Although Gula was wrapped, he also felt the changes below. With a fierce force of both hands, he broke free directly, seeing countless people below robbing his Dragon Ball, and suddenly furious. Want to take action to stop those masters of the human universe. The female emperor would let him go, and the two sleeves struck again. This time it was the treasure of the female emperor's natal universe. The perfect treasure of the universe in the Six Tribulations realm. Even Gula's millions of supernatural powers can't even break open quickly. The two sides were pulling with divine power. The divine power of the Empress soon reached 990,000. It is still not so easy to break 1,000,000. Gula's supernatural power has been maintained at around 1,000,000. Suddenly they were in a stalemate together. The battle below is almost over. In order to save his life, Li Sheng held a Dragon Ball and fled. Don't tremble with those people. He wanted to run to the Empress side, and the voice transmission told the Empress his identity. And Gula thought that Li Sheng was protecting Dragon Ball, which was extremely appreciated. His own divine power exploded again, directly soared from 1,000,000 to 1.08 million, directly shook the female emperor away, and caught Li Sheng with a quick catch. When I clean up these people, I will come to you to settle the account. Gula's eyes revealed the killing intent. The Empress who was shaken away was extremely shocked by Gula's divine power. It was able to explode to 1.08 million. If this is Gula's strongest power, she may still have hope. The Lord of the human universe below, who was still robbing the Dragon Ball, was stunned when he discovered that Gula rushed forward. They scolded the Empress for waste one after another. Can't stop Gula, they still have to let them grab the Dragon Ball. Feng Chen didn't care about those people anymore, he didn't even look at it, but turned to look at the Six Tribulation realm powerhouses of the Palunga clan. Gula led Li Sheng to the Lord of the human universe, her expression gloomy. Chapter 58-66. Just you trivialities, I dare to my treasure. Gula roared and shook everyone back. But this was not over yet. His figure flashed, and he went to a 5 Tribulations realm powerhouse holding a dragon ball, squeezed the opponent's head with one claw, and threw the dragon ball to Li Sheng. Li Sheng followed steadily. Once again, the Lord of the 5 Tribulations realm universe has fallen. The rest of the people are already frightened. There is no power to resist at all. If they all go together, they may all be killed by Gula. This holy meeting, I have no hope, I should give up. This thought sounded in everyone's mind. The 4 Tribulations realm powerhouse has already begun to retreat and run for his life. The angry Gula did not intend to give up any of them. Directly into the air, his fingers shot out beams of light in succession, and each beam of light could instantly kill the 5 Tribulations realm powerhouse. One breathing time is tens of thousands of beams of light. Don't kill all those present. 4 dragon gathered around Li Sheng. But his eyes were staring at the corpses all over the floor. Gula lightly clenched his fist and coughed dryly. Dirty creature. Looking at these corpses made him feel very uncomfortable, and with a wave of his hand, a powerful storm erupted, instantly raising all the tens of thousands of miles to the ground. The corpse also disappeared cleanly. A shocking scene. Still staged. It's a pity that there are not many strong humans present. The female emperor doesn't care about this, and is now lobbying the powerful Belunga tribe to cooperate. Although Jian Wushuang and Wu Li were not present, they were frightened stupidly. Only Li Sheng has experienced and witnessed it personally. Although he doesn't care about the life and death of these people very much. But seeing so many powerful men being slaughtered by the Gula, I was frightened to see. At the same time, I was fortunate. Fortunately, he became a desolate beast. Next time I saw Jian Wushuang, he would be polite to kowtow to the opponent. I must thank you very much. Speaking of it, he has been in the human race for such a long time, and he hasn't turned into a desolate beast to receive as many goods in a month. Perhaps it is because in the face of this huge opportunity, everyone has this opportunity. This opportunity allowed him to reach the pinnacle of the 5 Tribulations realm. Although he became a beast, he never regretted it. Master Gula, Li Sheng bowed. Completely reduced to a running dog of the human race. Gula and Li Sheng passed by and walked in the direction of the female emperor and the Belunga clan powerhouse. When passing by Li Sheng, she said, "I'm optimistic about Dragon Ball. When I kill these people, I will guarantee you to enter the 6 Tribulations." As soon as he said this, Li Sheng's eyes changed a few colors. Protect you from entering the 6 Tribulations realm. This sentence kept backtracking in Li Sheng's ears. 6 Tribulation realm. He is also the Lord of the universe. That is the Lord of the universe in the 6 Tribulations realm. In Gumu continent, they are all influential figures. He can even open up a secret realm, allowing the family to move to the secret realm and become the emperor of Fangtu. The Lord of the 6 Tribulations realm universe. No matter where you go, you will be taken seriously. You can even break through some dangerous secret realms and slowly stabilize your strength. Work towards the 7 Tribulations realm. This temptation is too big for Li Sheng. He had to consider whether this was the greatest opportunity in his life. Once missed, you may regret it for life. 6 Tribulations realm. Li Sheng murmured. He never dared to go to the realm of delusion. Before entering the infinite world, the most maddening thing he said in the Li family was that he could be ranked in the top 3 among the 4 calamities of the Yu kingdom. However, there were not many masters of the 4 Tribulations realm universe in the Yu kingdom. Being in the top 3 counts as a fart. Just in the blink of an eye, he witnessed the fall of dozens of masters of the 5 Tribulations realm, and hundreds of thousands of the fall of the 4 Tribulations realm. Here, the 4 Tribulations are weeds, and the 5 Tribulations are also ants. Even the 6 Tribulations realm could not interfere with the battle. What happened today really surpassed his previous knowledge and cognition. This had to make a slight change in his mood. The female emperor frowned when she saw the Gula who was constantly approaching. She still couldn't lobby the wave wheel strengthener. Can only fight separately. A bunch of idiots. In order to maintain her divine power, the Empress didn't want to face Gula. Especially when you are alone. The body shape flashed, and he wanted to rush to Longshan Mountain. Gula was one step ahead and blocked the Empress Fengchen. Where do you want to go in such a hurry? The speed was so fast that it surpassed everyone's thought power again. I can't see clearly at all. Top of the mountain. Jian Wushuang asked anxiously, I sent it okay? Now the Empress is fighting Gula alone, she is definitely not an opponent. If the Empress is gone, there is little hope for the rest of the people. When he and Wu Li want to escape, they may not have much chance. Bru and the Empress must be made to join forces with each other. Gula. Only then can there be hope. If it doesn't work, he can also perform super eternal changes and sneak attack Gula halfway. And he has a back player Li Sheng, it's just that he doesn't know that Li Sheng is already stunned. Falling into the delusion of Six Tribulations realm. Cool. Dan Bao sat directly on the ground, while Bru's breath reached the peak. But looking at Dan Bao's complexion, he should have reached his limit. There is still no way to compare with his vitality. However, he was able to restore a super powerhouse whose divine power reached 950,000 in the Six Tribulations realm, which was also quite remarkable. If this is sent out, no matter which power it is in, it will be a guest of honor. No wonder the Great Elder and the Elders of the Holy Land both value Dan Bao extremely, and once said that if the Holy Land is destroyed, let him run away with Dan Bao. It seems that Dan Bao also has a lot of secrets. Quickly, the people outside can't hold it anymore. Jian Wushuang glanced at the crystal ball, then turned his head and said to Bulu, together with the human race Empress, there is still the possibility of winning. In fact, he knows best whether he wins or not. A Gula who hasn't transformed has 1.08 million supernatural powers. Now that Bru and the Empress are teaming up, there is indeed a little chance of winning. But definitely can't win the Gula after the transformation. But if you don't join hands, you can only wait to die. Bulu also looked at the crystal ball, but he had no plans to cooperate with the Empress. Let's find a chance and prepare to escape. His eyes turned, and he glanced at the room where the Great Elder was. Surged again. After speaking, he disappeared in place. Appeared again, has come to the foot of the mountain. The battle between the Empress and the Gula continued. It's just that the Gula is extremely relaxed. After all, there are still some gaps between the two sides. After Bru appeared, he rushed towards Gula without talking nonsense. Although the Empress also killed the Palunga tribe, the biggest opponent now is Gula. After solving the Gula, it is not too late to clean up the Empress. Haha, I just came here, if I don't come out again, I'm going to fall asleep. Gula yawned, stood in the air with one hand on his hips, glanced at the two of them, the corners of his mouth were slightly raised, and his figure suddenly rushed out. End of this chapter. Chapter 5867. That speed makes people unable to react at all. The divine power of the Empress is a little stronger than Bru, and she can resist with difficulty. But Bru returned to the peak, and only had 95,000 divine powers. The gap with Gula's 1.08 million is too big. Come up and be ravaged. Gula shot Bu out of the sky with just one punch, and then rushed to the Empress again. After a miss, there was no shortage. His figure suddenly turned, and the palm shot out with his backhand. Boom. The Empress also fell from the sky. Too weak. Gula shook his head and fell from the sky. Bru got up and rushed again. The female emperor also struck from another direction. The two flanked them, but they flew into the air. Gula leaped up, and two powerful waves of aura broke out with open arms, directly blasting Bulu and the Empress back into the mountains. The other powerhouses of the Balunga clan wanted to step forward to help, but they were powerless. The four great sons only have more than 800,000 divine powers. Rushing over is also to die. Elder Jones stood up at this moment with a gloomy expression, and said to the four great sons, "It's time to use the last whole card." The four great sons were all taken aback, and when they looked at Gula, they fell silent again. The top of the mountain. Jian Wushuang saw the conversation of Elder Jones and others through the crystal ball, but couldn't hear the voice, so he tried to ask, Dan Bao, what are they doing, discussing countermeasures? I think they are ready to run away. How else are they fighting? The second fight is ravaged. It's better to run early and give the Dragon Ball to Gula. Wu Li shook his head and sighed all the time. Dan Bao didn't pay attention to Wu Li, but looked at Jian Wushuang and explained, Elder Jones, maybe I have to use the strongest secret technique of the Balunga clan. The strongest secret. Jian Wushuang and Wu Li said in unison, what is the strongest secret method? Fusion technique. Dan Bao stood up, turned his head and glanced at the house of the Great Elder, and then said, Fused Super Wave Wheel plus Warrior Fusion Technique. Super Fighter. Dan Bao's explanation shocked Jian Wushuang's heart. The fusion technique of the Balunga tribe is very special. Because the blood of the entire Balunga clan originates from the Great Elder. They can actually be integrated. For example, the intelligent Balungia people, after fusion with the combat-type Balungia people, will give birth to super warriors with both wisdom and combat. The reason why Bru is so strong is because he has been fused. Fusion technique. Jian Wushuang whispered. This reminded him of the Shan Jun of Chishan Temple. Mountain King, Ancient King, Demon King. This was transformed by Kishan's Avenue. Later, the Mountain King divided into the Heart Demon, the 10,000 Demon, the Wind Demon, and the Blood Demon. It can be divided, and it can be merged again. This is why extinction takes them away. Once merged again, it will be able to restore the peak. The Demon Lord alone is at the level of the Six Tribulations realm. The three elements of demons, ancients, and mountains are integrated into one. Even without Kishan's original peak combat power, I am afraid he would have the top combat power of the Seven Tribulations realm. The Chishan at the beginning, but half a step in the Eight Tribulations realm. Even rivals the Eight Tribulations realm. Swallowing one, it is Kishan's pinnacle avenue. Just like Jian Wushuang's kendo. Can that be normal? I hope there will be a miracle. Jian Wushuang once again focused on watching the fight under the mountain. The Empress and Bulu have already suffered a lot of injuries. If he drags on like this, he will only die. On the side of the four great saints, dozens of Five Tribulation Realm and hundreds of Four Tribulation Realm powerhouses surrounded the center. Elder Jones closed his eyes slightly, and said calmly, let's get started. Hum. Hundreds of breaths began to condense. A soaring breath suddenly erupted. The Gula in the distance was stunned for a moment, turned to look at the strong Balungia clan, and sneered. Any surprise? They were all ready to kill. Finding that the Balunga tribe still had a back player, he was no longer anxious, and dispatched a joint attack by Bru and the Empress. Then rushed to the four great sons. It takes time to merge and see Gula rushing. They are also deserted. Once interrupted, all previous efforts will be lost. The top of the mountain. Jian Wushuang suddenly got up, and hurriedly shouted at the big elder in the house, hurry up and send me out. Although the great elder is in the house, he can see the situation below through the crystal ball. He hesitated when he heard Jian Wushuang want to take the initiative. But now there is no other way but to do it. Jian Wushuang had just stood up before he appeared at the bottom of the mountain. The aura gathered on his body was long enough for him to perform super eternal changes. Super eternal change. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists, his figure suddenly exploded, and his divine power soared to 800,000. Seeing Jian Wushuang suddenly appeared, Gula was also taken aback. Looking up at the top of the mountain, I understood. There are still people who are not afraid of death. Gula sneered. He could see that Jian Wushuang had only 800,000 supernatural powers, which was nothing to worry about. But the enchantment above the top of the mountain is a bit obtrusive. It can also be teleported. In order to prevent someone from escaping with the Dragon Ball, Gula's hands condensed a dark red beam of light and shot it towards the enchantment on the top of the mountain. Boom. The supernatural power of this blow is definitely more than 100. Jian Wushuang was frightened. Seeing Gula attacking the enchantment, he didn't rush to move. He wanted to delay time for the four great sons of the Balunga tribe behind him. At the same time, it is also waiting for Bru and the Empress to come. When the time comes, drag Gula together. Standing far away, Li Sheng saw Jian Wushuang appear, and he also exploded with 800,000 supernatural powers, which was also shocked. He didn't know that Gula could transform, and now he saw the Balunga clan explode again. Jian Wushuang also rushed out. For a time, I felt a little anxious. Wu Li at the top of the mountain was shocked to discover that after Jian Wushuang had transformed, he had 800,000 supernatural powers. Originally thought that this time, he could surpass Jian Wushuang. Unexpectedly, he was still crushed. Jian Wushuang. When the rushing empress saw Jian Wushuang, the corners of her eyes trembled. Jian Wushuang also looked at the opponent, his eyes were watery, and there was also some sadness. Blame the empress for abandoning them. Leave without saying a word. Leave him with Jin Chen. The powerhouses of the Yu Kingdom have all fallen. This is more like a miniature. Because all the masters of the universe who followed the empress have fallen. The human race that is still alive. There are only 3.5 left. Yakenangshu. That half is Li Sheng, who turned into a wild beast. When I came, everyone was fine. The result is all gone. Those who are alive are lucky one by one. The moment I saw the empress, the words were on my lips, but I couldn't speak. This kind of taste is uncomfortable. Bru also turned over and rushed over at this time. The three of them surrounded Gula with an encirclement. You flies. The Gula who was stopped was a little annoyed, but at a glance he shook the three of them back and blasted towards the barrier again. This time Bru stepped forward and started to burn his divine power. End of this chapter. Chapter 58-68. Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed, and the sound transmission said, Elder Bu, how long does your previous move take? Bru, who burns the divine body, has reached 1,000,000 in divine power. If you perform the previous trick again, you might be caught off guard. It also takes some time for Gula to transform. If you can force Gula to be killed in the opponent's transform, then you can make a lot of money. 3 breaths. Bulu forced Gula's punch with both hands, and looked at Jian Wushuang as he retreated. He also understood Jian Wushuang's thoughts. Want to end directly to Gula. Add fuel tactics, to deal with Gula is to find death. Even if the 4 great saints could produce a flower, it would not be of much use. 4-6 tribulations realm, no matter how strong they are. That means there are 4 more blues. Maybe it can block the current Gula. But absolutely can't stop the Gula after the transformation. Kang. Jian Wushuang directly drew out the 10,000 tribulations sword, and said indifferently, leave these 3 breaths to me. Turning his head and glanced at the Empress again, the other party's divine power had already begun to be unstable. Whether it is reliable or not is a question. Therefore, he must resist these 3 breaths on his own. Gula, now your opponent is me. Jian Wushuang slashed horizontally with his sword, the wings behind him shook, and his speed was already equal to that of Gula. This shocked Gula. It was impossible to avoid that sword, and suddenly it was a little messy. He didn't expect Jian Wushuang to be so fast. Jian Wushuang had only 800,000 supernatural powers, and Gula naturally didn't care about it. But now the speed suddenly caught up with him, which made Gula worried that Jian Wushuang's divine power would suddenly skyrocket. But after feeling the power of that sword, he breathed a sigh of relief. I thought your speed was as powerful as your divine power. Gula held the sword of 10,000 tribulations in one hand, and his divine power shook Jian Wushuang away. Jian Wushuang, who was shaken away, was unstable and slowed down. At this time, Gula rushed forward, with both hands behind, a head hammer with a sharp threaded angle directly pierced Jian Wushuang's chest. Puff! The blood remained along the breastplate, and Jian Wushuang's own divine body broke directly. The difference is still too far. Although his supernatural power reached 800,000 after his super-eternal transformation, and his origin was doubled, he was still an emperor after all. The life force is running wildly, and if he wants to recover his injury, it consumes more than it grows. Gula's head slammed to the ground fiercely, directly slamming Jian Wushuang from the sky into the ground. Boom! Jian Wushuang, who fell to the ground, directly smashed a huge pit. The injury on his chest was extremely serious, and it had penetrated the origin universe. No matter how quickly the vitality recovers, it cannot be restored instantly. This is the gap. If it is the same level, or just a stronger player than him, it will not be so embarrassed. But for the super strong with millions of superpowers, Jiu La, he has no way at all. 2 breath. Jian Wushuang laughed at himself, his body unable to move. This time he really didn't move. He turned his head to look in the direction of the Empress, and said in the bottom of his heart, "Block him and give Bru a breath of time. We still have a chance to win." The female Emperor's body trembled, and the divine body had begun to crack, and the time for 2 breaths was to gather energy. Now some breath has just gathered, and it's starting to be unstable again. And Jian Wushuang is about to fall. Little guy. The Empress was also a little moved. This time the position of the saint is already hers. In fact, there is no need to lie down in muddy water, even if the mission is not completed, and the position of the saint is unsuccessful, she will earn enough to see the holy meeting this time. From half a step to the 6 tribulations realm, to the peak of the 6 tribulations realm. The many prices paid are all worthwhile for her. Why do you continue to fight like this? And Jian Wushuang was a dying person, there was no need to save him. It's better to take this opportunity to escape. Seeing Li Sheng hesitating in the distance, she jumped anxiously. If Jian Wushuang was gone, he wouldn't be transformed into a human race. Gula killed all the strong people in this place, and he could not return to the 16 kingdoms. At that time, in this infinite world, even if it becomes the 6 tribulations realm, what's the point? He couldn't watch Jian Wushuang die. The same goes for Wu Li at the top of the mountain. Now Jian Wushuang is dying, and his plan to enter Wanliu has also been ruined. I told you not to go, don't go. Wu Li shook his head, reached out and drew out the 3-foot wooden sword, turned his head and glanced at the house of the elder, his breath suddenly changed. Just as Wu Li was about to take a shot, the Empress was moved. She didn't go towards Gula, but rushed towards Li Sheng. "My lord, help me." Li Sheng shouted and threw the Dragon Ball directly. This is his plan with the Empress. Use Dragon Ball to lead Gula away. Hearing the shouting, Gula turned his head to look at the position of the Empress. Had to stop. Damn, you flies completely angered me. Gula clenched his fist, he didn't want to play anymore. The female emperor just rushed to Li Sheng's side, but was suffocated by the breath of Gula. The colors of the sky are beginning to distort. Gula's divine power also began to beat continuously. Jian Wushuang at the bottom of the pit took the opportunity to turn over and leaped into the distance, and loudly reminded, "Be careful of his transformation. Boy, you actually know the identity of this king." Gula looked extremely embarrassed. This was a sign of transformation. What he didn't expect was a human kid who knew he could transform. As far as he knows, there are no frozen demons in the outside world. Jian Wushuang, who fled to the distance, took a breath. A trace of thought power has been on Bulu, and the opponent's stunts have been condensed. Just wait for an opportunity now. Frozen demon race. Jian Wushuang took the opportunity to say, "Gula, I killed a frozen demon race. He looks a lot like you." This sentence is slightly provocative. But Gula didn't care about it. The strong of the frozen demon race, although rare. But it is not as united as the Belunga. It has nothing to do with him. What he cares about is that someone knows his whole cards. This makes him very upset. Originally, I thought that in front of these people, come to show off. As a result, don't puncture it now. Since you know, let you be the first person to kill after I transform. Gula's figure shook, and his divine power skyrocketed again. Jian Wushuang turned his head and said to Bulu, "It's now." Hum. A beam of light surrounded by black aura rose to the sky, and Bulu spelled out the power of his whole body, exhausted the last trace of his strength and shouted angrily, "Magic light kills wave." Boom. This air column is like a Changhong circling the sun. He rushed to Gula in an instant. Gula, who was still about to transform, turned his head to look, and he was already in front of his eyes. The bloodshot eyes burst, and he exclaimed, "What?" End of this chapter. Chapter 58-69. He just didn't pay attention to Brew at all. His mind was all on Jian Wushuang, and he wanted to know how Jian Wushuang knew he would transform. Jian Wushuang deliberately attracted his attention at that time. Now it seems successful. This time, Mo used to kill the waves, has exceeded 1,000,000 supernatural powers. That's a full 1,050,000. Even if Gula can't be killed, Gula can be seriously injured. He was so badly injured that he couldn't transform again. They can win. The beam of light covered Gula's body and pulsed directly towards the distant mountain. The Gula's body in the light wave was directly shattered, and the divine body was disappearing little by little. Pass through the Gula completely, without a trace of excess. The light waves passing through the Gula fell into the distant mountains, bursting out a strong breath, and then bursting open. Rumble. A powerful air current blows along, and Jian Wushuang stretches out his hand to block him. In the rear, he felt 4 strong breaths again. They are the 4 great suns. Good things, they are all gathered together. Jian Wushuang smiled, turned his head and said to the 4 great saints, "Now, give Gula another blow. The damage just now was not enough to make Gula fall. Must take the opportunity to make up the knife, and can't hesitate." The 4 great suns have absorbed hundreds of Balunga clan powerhouses, and now each of them has a divine power of about 1,000,000, which is comparable to the Empress and Bulu. The 4 of them soared into the air, working together, and hitting countless waves of light, each hitting 1,000,000 or so, although it was not as good as the one that Bruce had just made. But the number is staggering. In just one breath, he played tens of thousands of times. The entire Dragon God continent was destroyed in half. The origin of the infinite world is almost consumed. Jian Wushuang just remembered now. On Gumu continent, it is simply not possible to withstand the battle of the 7 tribulations realm. The original Soul Heaven Emperor, a big move, directly destroyed the Eternal Kingdom. This is an example. The 4 great suns, a wave of violent bombing, almost destroyed the entire infinite world, which is normal. Anyway, it's not his own home. Jian Wushuang doesn't care, but hopes that the stronger the better. The 4 great suns almost worked out their full strength, not daring to be careless at all. A stick of incense was blown for a long time. Jian Wushuang's thought power has been paying attention, and at the same time, he has also moved to Bru's side. "Eat him quickly and send me back to the top of the mountain." Bulu swallowed the fruit of the divine power and recovered some of the divine power, and a handprint directly sent Jian Wushuang back to the top of the mountain. Jian Wushuang dared to breathe a sigh of relief after returning to the top of the mountain. "Benefactor, I'll restore you." Dan Bao walked over, actively trying to restore Jian Wushuang some divine power. Jian Wushuang waved his hand and said, "I have recovered." "So fast." Wu Li leaned in at this moment, but the aura on his body had returned to normal. "Slow down, I'll die below." Jian Wushuang shook his head and said, "Wait for the result. If Gula is still alive, we will leave." After speaking, he began to gather qi again. He has become normal now. To escape, you can only perform super eternal changes, and then use the 3 shocks to shuttle out of the universe. "It's all like this. Can he live?" Wu Li pointed to the bottomless pits in the crystal ball. Jian Wushuang's face was pale, and he said honestly, "I can still feel the breath of Gula. He is not that easy to die, it depends on whether he can transform." As soon as he finished saying this, he saw a small black spot floating up from the pit. A closer look reveals that it is Gula. Everyone at the foot of the mountain was dumbfounded. Gula slowly rose from the pit to the sky, but his figure was in tatters. The limbs are gone, and there are many holes in the chest. There are still a few holes in the face. The divine power dropped for the first time, from 1.08 million to 800,000. This is already a serious injury to Gula. Heavier, he is almost out of combat power. "You ants, actually hurt me, damn it." Gula's figure shook, and the rotten wound began to recover, gradually turning into a perfect shape. Snapped. Falling to the ground, walked towards Brew step by step. The 4 great suns stepped forward to block Gula. "Since this is the case, let you see how powerful I am after I transform." Gula sneered, clenching his fists with both hands, and his divine power suddenly exploded. A golden light burst suddenly. The violent divine power began to rise. Jian Wushuang at the top of the mountain already knew that this time he was really finished. Let's go. Jian Wushuang also condensed his breath to consummation at this time. You can perform super eternal changes at any time. Before the Gula has completely transformed, his speed is still comparable to that of the opponent, so hurry up and run with someone. Wu Li wanted to run early, so he was naturally happy. That's what I'm waiting for, but when you leave, take the little brother Danbao, he can restore our divine power, which is also a great help. Actually, Wu Li doesn't need to say, he will always bring Danbao. But this sentence came out of Wu Li's mouth. This makes him a little strange. The previous Wu Li didn't care about the death of others at all. Now he has to take the initiative to bring Danbao. It must have found something. He didn't rush to pierce, but he didn't immediately agree. Instead, he looked at Danbao and said, Danbao, are you willing to follow us? Aye. Danbao lowered his head, hesitating while holding the corner of his clothes with both hands. Hesitation is also normal. After all, this is a holy land. And this time, the holy land was destroyed, and all the people of the tribe fell. This is inevitable. He is just a kid, and how much he can understand. Jian Wushuang also knew his worries, so he said, if you are not sure to pay attention, it is better to ask the elder. Good. Danbao nodded, and then ran into the house. Jian Wushuang looked at the crystal ball again. Down the mountain. Gula burst into rebirth in the bursting golden light. The golden light faded, and a familiar figure appeared. It was the same as the ancient temple Jian Wushuang saw. After Gula's transformation, his figure was several times higher than before, and his divine power also skyrocketed a lot. 100. Jian Wushuang couldn't see through. Frowning, thinking about how to escape later. He knew that there was still a teleportation formation on the mountain. But the transmission distance is not far. He still wants to use the 3-shock universe. Wu Li bluntly said, 3 million. The tree in the body, Ukanshu. Com told Wu Li about the power of Gula. 3 million supernatural powers. After Jian Wushuang heard this, he was not surprised. This is also normal. Before transforming, there were 1.08 million. After transforming, he has 1.3 million, which is actually not as powerful as he imagined. This divine power can be regarded as a high-level combat power in the 7 Tribulations realm. He had seen Dylan after the outbreak. Divine power is as high as 1.8 million. The upper limit of the 7 Tribulations realm is too high. Millions are just the beginning. Chapter 5870. Like the Soul Heaven Emperor, it is correct to say that he is in the 7 Tribulations realm. However, his divine power is extremely terrifying, and it is possible to guarantee the bottom 3 million. It is the strongest 7 Tribulations realm in the entire Gumu continent. Regardless of the cosmic dojo, no one with iron guts is not necessarily the opponent of the Soul Heaven Emperor. In other words, he can't feel his current clone anywhere. It is true that the battles in the infinite world are too frequent. He doesn't have time to care about external affairs. Gula, the biggest threat now, can't be solved at all. Don't have any thoughts, take care of other things. Those people at the foot of the mountain are over. Jian Wushuang couldn't bear to look again. The Empress couldn't escape even if she wanted to. He didn't plan to take care of the female emperor, so he would take 2 people at most. Even if you can bring 3, you will not consider the Empress. The other party was completely stunned. Want to be strong, want to be crazy. Anything can be discarded. When the time comes, she will sell it again. Why bother? Benefactor, the Great Elder invites you to come once. Dan Bao walked out of the Great Elder's house and shouted at him and Wu Li. Although there is not much time now, but if the other party wants to meet, it is better to see once. Maybe there is something left. Although I look down on treasures. But chances can't be less. What if the first elder can give them some chance? Wu Li wanted everything, so he pulled him and walked into the house. When he entered the house, he felt a twilight. That is the twilight of death. It seems that the Great Elder is about to die. Even if Gula didn't do it, he wouldn't live for a few years. Jen Wushuang discovered that Dan Bao's aura had become stronger at this time. He also just noticed it. That breath has reached the level of the ordinary robbery realm. This is quite unexpected. It should be some kind of treasure given by this Great Elder that can make Dan Bao stronger. Jen Wushuang thought like this in his heart. Seeing them come in, the Great Elder Qiong gave a bit of spirit and said, "Humanity, the Gula is as powerful as you said." "Well, what Great Elder? If you have something to say quickly, we are running out of time here." Wu Li was a little anxious at this time. The Great Elder paused, and then said directly, "There are some things that I can't say directly. Please look through this jade slip. If you feel that you have hope, don't leave in a hurry." Jade slip. Jen Wushuang turned out to be a small jade slip. I don't know what the Great Elder meant. The opponent is the creator of the Balunga clan, so he shouldn't be afraid of death. After a thought force entered the jade slip, Jen Wushuang was stunned. Dragon Ball can still be used like this. He raised his head and looked at the Great Elder, somewhat in disbelief. Wu Li was also curious at this time, and quickly avoided the jade slip, and was shocked when he saw the content above. The content is very simple. Collecting 9 Dragon Balls, the Elder can use the power of reversing the rules. This force has reversed the supreme rule. Let alone Wu Li, Jen Wushuang has never heard of it either. For a while, I was a little uncertain about it. Reverse the rules. Excitation potential. The simple 4 words contain too much. Wu Li bluntly said, "What level can this potential be stimulated?" His focus is always his best interest. But I don't want to think about this authenticity. Even if the potential is stimulated, can the combat power be doubled? Jen Wushuang didn't think so. If you were so good, what would you have done long ago? The Elder's eyelids trembled and tremblingly said, "The potential to stimulate is the source within oneself. The stronger the potential of the source, the stronger the combat power aroused. The source of my Balungia clan is too weak, so I have been." He just used a Dragon Ball to stimulate Dan Bao's potential. This is the only thing he can do. I just hope that the last member of the tribe can be stronger and have the ability to protect themselves. At the same time, it must have its own value. This way it will not be abandoned. Dan Bao said with tears in his eyes at this time, "Elder, a Dragon Ball will reduce your lifespan a lot. If 9 dragon are together, you will fall. Stupid boy, my limit is coming soon. Even if Gula doesn't kill me, I won't be able to last long." The Elder bowed his head and looked at Dan Bao dozingly. Only then did Wu Li realize that Dan Bao's aura was much stronger than before. Although his divine power had not improved much, his origin was much stronger. Dan Bao was not a combat type, and it was useless to increase his divine power. The origin is stronger, and the speed at which it helps others to recover their divine power must be faster. "Brother Wushuang, why don't I try?" Wu Li looked at Jen Wushuang. Obviously want to see Jen Wushuang's opinion. Jen Wushuang didn't stop either, and said casually, "If you think you have potential, just try it. He is now the Emperor Consummation, and if he is excited again, he is afraid that he will die. So I don't have much opinion about it, and there are no expectations." Wu Li walked over happily. His supernatural power is 700,000 at its peak. It's half a step in the 5 Tribulations realm's combat power. It used to be a half step 4 Tribulations realm, but now, it has risen to a level. If he stimulates his potential, can Wu Li survive another catastrophe in the same place? Jen Wushuang waited to see Wu Li's joke. The Elder held a Dragon Ball in one hand, and put the other hand on Wu Li's forehead. Hum! A burst of power erupted. With the Dragon Xiao that followed, a golden light burst out of Wu Li's body. The powerful rule power fell from the sky, and Jen Wushuang was taken aback. "Reverse the rules," he murmured, not daring to talk. "If you don't really go through the catastrophe on the spot, the great calamity in the void condenses." But because of the power in the Dragon Ball, it began to dissipate. Wu Li is overjoyed. He didn't expect that the surprise this time would come too suddenly. A catastrophe in vain. There are no signs at all. The Grand Elder released his hand, his complexion lowered again. Obviously there is not much lifespan, and it is now in a state of dying. Human, with my current life, I can use at most 1 Dragon Ball to help you improve. The Elder also felt that what he had just said was a bit too big. 9 dragon to increase their potential together, it would take too much life. He has never tried it. But in his opinion, the potential stimulated by a Dragon Ball is almost enough. Yukanshu. Kom Wu Li half-stepped into the 5 Tribulations realm, transformed himself, and went directly to the half-step 6 Tribulations realm. This is very ridiculous. The dream of Wu Li was the 5 Tribulations realm. Before entering the Wanliu Shunmu, he had reached the half-step 6 Tribulations realm. Brother Wu Shuang, it's really useful, I feel I can play Gula now. After Wu Li's origin skyrocketed, the tree man in his body helped him transform all the origin's power of all things into divine power. It means that his divine power has skyrocketed. And it has reached the half-step 6 Tribulations realm. He can madly nibble on the treasures of divine power again, and enhance his divine power. Thinking of this, Wu Li even shamelessly reached out for the treasure from the Elder. End of this chapter. Chapter 5871. Eat dry. Nothing is left. Almost done, clean up, we are ready to go. He was still not tempted, he knew the details of himself best. Wu Li nodded frantically while improving his supernatural power. But in the bottom of his heart, he was still a little unwilling. There are also 4 dragon here, which have improved so much in one go. Then with 4 dragon ascending, wouldn't he be able to reach the 6 Tribulations realm? But thinking of the Great Elder left a sigh of relief. It is estimated that there is no such opportunity. Can only sigh from the bottom of my heart. Jian Wushuang was just about to perform the super-eternal change, but a voice rang in his mind. You go to Xiaolia's sacred tree, isn't it just to hit the catastrophe? Now this opportunity is right in front of you, why don't you grasp it? This voice comes from his original universe. And in his original universe, there is only one person. Wise. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath. He thought the other party would not care about him, but he didn't expect to remind him at this time. In the original universe. Above Tianqing Mountain. Weiss leaned on a huge recliner, while basking in the sun, while directing the created humanoid life to decorate the huge manor. It has been arranged for such a long time, but it still hasn't reached the level of his satisfaction. Hearing Jian Wushuang dared to question, he said calmly, if you don't believe it, you can leave at any time. I believe it. Jian Wushuang nodded frantically. Weiss has spoken, can he not believe it? The other party is a god. However, since the potential is stimulated, it is stimulated to the maximum. The 9 dragon must be together. There are 4 more from the outside world. If you think of a way, you can get it. If he could really reach the Tribulation realm, he would be able to cross the 5 Tribulations realm at once without the help of the Great Elder. Will you still be afraid of Gula? The supernatural power of 1.3 million is nothing more. Once he breaks through the robbery realm, he does not need to use divine power, and he can beat the Gula brutally by using the sword. Origin supernatural power. The most powerful is the origin. What's the matter? Wu Li asked Jian Wushuang astonished as he watched. I was afraid that Jian Wushuang would do something more. Jian Wushuang waved his hand and said, don't leave. Have you figured it out clearly? The Great Elder was also overjoyed. He could see that Jian Wushuang's potential was endless. Although a Dragon Ball is less exciting, it can also double Jian Wushuang's strength. Elder, I think it through, but I want to use 9 dragon to stimulate my potential. 9. Not only was the Elder stunned for a while, Wu Li exclaimed, Brother Wushuang, don't be kidding, there is no such condition now. Even if they went out and snatched the remaining 4 Dragon Balls, the lifespan of the Great Elder would not be enough for him to ruin. I'm sure. Seeing that they didn't believe it, Jian Wushuang was extremely confident. Isn't it the power of life? What he has is. Now he doesn't care about being exposed or not. As long as it can become a catastrophe. Everything is worth it. And he created a super-eternal change. Once it becomes the tribulation realm, it can quickly reach the 5 tribulations realm. Performing super-eternal transformation, his combat power is at least comparable to the 7 tribulations realm. One more thing. That is, his original universe can be accommodated in God's body. In this way, it is equivalent to carrying a moving dojo. The combat power will skyrocket. Killing Gula is not a problem. Even if you go out, you can still save your life. When he arrives at the Lord of the Universe, his 3-shock universe will be unique in GUU time and space. Except for the Master of the Universe in the 8 tribulations realm, no one can catch him. He still has this confidence. As long as he gave him time, he swallowed Dongjun's bones, and his basic divine power could quickly break through 1,000,000. At that time, it will be used again, the super-eternal change with full power. He himself couldn't imagine how powerful it would be. At this time, Wu Li stood up and poured cold water. Brother, this matter is not something you can grasp if you want to, and there are some things you simply can't grasp. What about this one? Jian Wushuang was directly deep in his palm, and his thought power mobilized the life force in his body, and instantly gathered in his palm. This scene directly suppressed everyone. Wu Li's eyes glowed, and the tree in his body almost ran out. Life force. Dan Bao also exclaimed. At the same time, he thought of the treasure in his body. He is able to possess the power of all things to transform divine power and life because of a treasure. But Jian Wushuang's life force is the most pure innate life. When the turbid eyes of the Great Elder saw the life force, a faint light was also leaked. This light spot keeps zooming in. Jian Wushuang walked to the side of the Elder and directly injected the life force into the body of the Elder. The Great Elder of the Balunga tribe, after receiving that vitality, began to slowly change from an old and exhausted state. I couldn't open my eyelids before. Now he can actually stand up. This is simply a miracle of life. Brother Wushuang, you must be crazy. Wu Li reacted at this moment and pointed towards the sky. The meaning is clear. Everything they do here can be seen clearly by outsiders. This time the holy meeting is over. After a while, there will be countless robbers rushing. The 8 tribulations realm will all end. Jian Wushuang didn't care and said, the soldiers will come to cover, the water will cover the earth. Very courageous. The Great Elder stood up, looked at Jian Wushuang, and said, the life you gave me is enough to stimulate your potential with 9 Dragon Balls. Now I can see that you are the Emperor. It's amazing. It's nothing. Jian Wushuang also became frantic, and said casually, only in the tribulation realm can we reverse this crisis. There will be no need to flee at that time. I will also give the vitality to the Great Elder, so that the Balunga clan will live forever. I believe in your potential. The Great Elder of the Balunga clan was as confident as Jian Wushuang at this time. Wu Li stood by, not knowing how to do it well. Escape, it also depends on the strength. How would he run without Jian Wushuang? Wu Li. Jian Wu was serious on both sides, looking at the other side and said, and the senior in your body, now every word I say will swear to the supreme rule, as long as you help me wholeheartedly, Yukanshu I will pay you back for. Com in the future. This time it was a good idea for them. As long as you help him get things done this time, everything will be good in the future. No matter what Shorin's plan is, what is his status? He will go all out. Help the other party achieve their goals. Treasures can be picked first by them. As long as I can help him this time. Wu Li's eyes flashed, and he swallowed, but his heart was tangled, and at the same time, he was waiting for the tree man to tell him what to do. He is not allowed to pay attention by himself. Strength is one aspect, and so is knowledge. Promise him. Chapter 58-72. Wu Li's eyes moved and nodded. A smile appeared on his face for an instant, and he walked to Jian Wushuang, patted his chest and said, I'm all my own, even without you, I will stand by you. Although this sentence is a bit false, the listener is comfortable. In fact, the reason why Wu Li listened to everything was because he was not strong enough. Even if he was half a step into the 6 tribulations realm, his divine power would only be more than 800,000. This bit of supernatural power is also given for nothing. After helping Jian Wushuang to grab the Dragon Ball, he also needs the support of the Tree Man. Thanks. Jian Wushuang was grateful this time. Wu Li originally wanted to pat him on the shoulder, but when he thought of something, he raised his hand halfway, patted the air, and said embarrassingly, "Small thing. How long do I need to resist?" Jian Wushuang took a deep breath and was already sending a message to Li Sheng. "Grab Dragon Ball will be fast. But to break through this matter, something needs to be done." The elder also understood the risk this time, and he paused and said, "I have already transmitted the sound to Brew. As long as you resist the time of a stick of incense, Brew will merge with the 4 great suns again and become the best of my clan." Strong super soldier. A stick of incense. Wu Li gritted his teeth and nodded in response. "Everything is ready. Then let's start." Jian Wushuang directly performed the super eternal change, put a hand on Wu Li's shoulder, and then said to the elder, "Trouble the elder to send me out. I'll go too." Dan Bao also stood up at this time. Jian Wushuang originally wanted to stop, but thought that Dan Bao could quickly restore their supernatural power. Also a helper. He couldn't help other people to restore his divine power by then, although the life force had been exposed, but Gula was waiting for him. Snatching the Dragon Ball will surely make Gula take revenge wildly. It must be fast. There is too little time left for him now. The strong outsiders must have noticed him. In fact, it's almost the same as Wu Li said. Now the whole ancient Wood Holy Land is in chaos. Dozens of scattered robbers at the 7 Tribulation Realm level are already negotiating with the Gu Mu sect. To say that it is a negotiation is actually to force the palace. Let Gumu faction teleport them to the infinite world. The matter has reached the whole point. The Shenmu king came personally, it was useless. But these people, if they know that the current Shenmu king can still exert peak combat power, I am afraid they would not dare to make such a fuss. Everyone, no matter what, the holy meeting is not over, no one can enter. This is the rule set by the Shenmu king, and no one can break it. Humph. A 7 Tribulation Realm powerhouse in the secret realm stood up and said loudly, "If you say you don't let it in, you won't let it in? Who knows how many people you have sent in?" The rest of the 7 Tribulation Realm powerhouses also quarreled with each other. The head teacher of the ancient wood school was also unlucky. Now that the bigger one can't come out, let him bear the small one outside. Although he is a master, he is only managing trivial matters. The real big things are still in the care of those super elders. And there is the Shenmu king. Now these people don't know where they are all gone. Let him fight all alone. These old guys. The madness of scattered robbery. The silence of the Lord of the Universe. Tonghe Sword Immortal sat with the powerhouse on the side of the Stone Country, and the current powerhouse on the Stone Country, in addition to refining the stars, all went to the Gumu sect to teach. Even the ancestors of the Yu kingdom were also in the lead. This is the son-in-law of Yu. On the bright side, he stood upright. Senior Xing Lian not going to join in the fun? Tonghe Zhenxian looked at Lian Xing, but the other party did not go, which surprised him. Although the vitality of star refining is still very strong, it is time to plan ahead. Lianxing grasped the pendant in his hand, smiled and said, "I still prefer to be passive. It's not good to be too active. Of course, it also depends on who takes the initiative. They know Jian Wushuang's potential best. It would be that simple. There must be an end to the 8 Tribulations realm. This time should not be the most anxious." Among the holy grounds of the ancient wood school, 4 of them came from the 10 great and 7 calamities in which Emperor Bobby sat down. It's not easy. All 4 people present recognized Jian Wushuang. Now it's up to Bobby Dis plan. In the turbulence of the void, the space boat drifts aimlessly. Cabin. Barbie Di had received the news a long time ago. Already led people around Jian Wushuang's clone. It's just that Jian Wushuang's clone now doesn't have any consciousness. It seemed to be pinched off. "Master Bobby, why don't we go directly to the Gu Mu faction and grab his deity before we speak?" Dylan stared at Jian Wushuang with cold eyes at this time. Because of the secret method of Barbie Di, The others have less desire for life force now. Moreover, I also knew Jen Wushuang's life force before, and there was not much fluctuation. Bobby's paw rubbed his chin, obviously thinking about something. Compared with Jen Wushuang, his plan is more important. The reason why he valued Epi Wushuang was because of extinction. Only life can defeat life. He wanted to use Jen Wushuang to defeat Daisheng. He had to control Jen Wushuang first. It's a pity that I can't hold it anymore now. It's not that he didn't think about the ancient wood school Holy Land. There is also the willow, the things contained in it, even he can't see through it. But inside, there are key treasures about the secret method of resurrection. Resurrection. This is the nickname of Barbie Di for the secret law. It is also his biggest plan. Resurrect all the sabotages, thus becoming the gods of the 9 time-space sabotage powerhouses. Barbie Di, who has experienced a lot in the starry sky, knows that this world has gods. Only those gods can stand high. The robbery is just a joke. The 9 tribulations will also fall. Emperor Bobby will use the 9 great time and space to disperse and achieve his own path to the gods. This plan is crazier than the extinction one. But he now has this capital. Kai Jiuxiao, it's time for you to move. Emperor Bobby raised his eyelids, leaking his ticking eyes, and the cold light shrank. Ancient wood pie. Soon it became the core of the entire GUU time and space. And all this is because of Jen Wushuang's exposed life force. Infinite world. Jen Wushuang and the others have already begun to act. At the same time, above the infinite world, at the core of the formation, there are dozens of superpowers who are destroying the core of the formation together. The formation was established by the Gumu school. Now they dismantled it themselves. It's just a bit slow to dismantle. It takes at least 1 day to enter the infinite world. In this day's time, as long as those 7 tribulations realm existed to stop the outside world, they would be able to take the lead in controlling Jen Wushuang. Who arranged this formation back then? An old man wearing a green crown asked. Everyone was stunned for a moment, and then explained, it was arranged by the 7th elder, Old 7. The old man with a high crown was silent for a while, and continued to destroy the core of the formation without saying anything. Chapter 5873. This old man with a high crown is exactly the creator of the ancient wood continent. At the beginning, the ancient wood continent was still barren. It was he who led the 8-star Zhongmen ancient wood sect and opened up a large territory. He is also the most powerful person in Gumu continent. I will definitely take you this time. Shunmu Wang stepped on the void and looked at Wanliu in the wild core area with greed in his eyes. The power of innate life reappears. In the eyes of King Shunmu, this must have something to do with Wanliu. Taking down Jen Wushuang is equivalent to opening Wanliu. The peeping and speculation of countless strong men. Jen Wushuang didn't know it at all. Although the bottom of my heart is prepared. But this time, he is about to face the strong. It is unprecedentedly powerful. The top of Longshan Mountain. Jen Wushuang and Wu Li stood side by side. This time, I must win. He clenched his fist. The purpose of coming to Guya time and space is to become a tribulation realm and master the universe. He must win. Wu Li took a deep breath, but the divine power on his body began to change. The terrible divine power did not belong to him, but the tree man was controlling his divine body. Although you shouldn't ask, I still want to say, even if you go through the 5 tribulations at once, but there is no universe here, you can't create another one. This is indeed a big problem for ordinary people. The primitive universe bred in time and space is all in quantity. There is no primitive universe long ago. You can only refine the universe by yourself. This will take a long time. There is no time now. Jen Wushuang has exposed a lot this time, and he is not hiding anything at all. He turned to explain to Wu Li, I have a way to condense my original universe in a short period of time, and the growth of divine power can be achieved quickly, as long as I break through. Success, in half a day, I will be able to reach the 5 tribulations realm. He is confident. Wu Li didn't say anything anymore, and directly exploded with the divine power injected into him by the treant, and his aura skyrocketed. Action. Wow. The two disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, Wu Lizhen stood in front of Gula with a sword in his hand. After the transformation, Gula had a supernatural power of 1.3 million. The female emperor fell to the ground severely wounded, reluctant to live or die. Bru and the four great sons could not stop Gula's punch together. They all began to despair. Unexpectedly, there are still people who dare to come down from the top of the mountain at this time. You guys go. Bru was a little anxious at this moment. The original plan of this great elder was different at all. The original plan of the great elder was to make them stand up. If there is a possibility of winning, it is naturally the best. It's impossible. You can only ask Zhen Wushuang to take Dan Bao away. Looking at it now, they have lost. Wu Li's face was pale, and a smile leaked in front of him, and he said, "The universe is uncertain, we still have hope. You can't stop the time for a stick of incense." Bru shook his head. The great elder had just transmitted a message to him for the final fusion. But Bru needs too long. Unless Gula is sleeping in place and waiting for him, it is impossible to merge successfully. You can't rely on Wu Li in front of you. After Wu Li broke through again, his supernatural power was more than 800,000, and he already had the combat power of the Six Tribulations realm. But compared with Gula, it's just a drop in the bucket. The mayfly shakes the tree and does not know what to do. Just let you see my true strength. Wu Li's voice fell, and his divine power increased again. His face was also pale and embarrassed. This is the inability of the divine body. That violent divine power has accumulated too much. It wasn't his own divine power, but now that it is used, it has a big backlash against him. But the tree man told him that as long as he had a breath, whether it was Dan Bao or Zhen Wushuang, he could restore him to the peak. Otherwise, he wouldn't fight like this. Gula was also bluffed by the people in front of him. He didn't care about it, but after feeling that Wu Li's divine power reached 1 million in an instant, he was a little uncomfortable. You are really difficult. Gula frowned and rushed to Wu Li immediately. At this moment, Zhen Wushuang, who was hiding in the void, started his hand. He reached Li Sheng's side at a very fast speed. "I'm sorry." Zhen Wushuang let out a wicked smile, and directly took away all the four dragon from Li Sheng's side with a wave of one hand. Li Sheng gritted his teeth, but finally didn't make a move, just watching Zhen Wushuang leave with the Dragon Ball. Gula, who had just rushed out halfway, found a strong aura fluctuating behind, and knew something was wrong. After seeing the Dragon Ball next to Li Sheng disappear, he was completely furious. Zhen Wushuang, who was hiding in the void, was shocked by the breath. "You ant, I will let you die first." The furious Gula's supernatural power was still rising. A leaped and rushed to Zhen Wushuang's face. Zhen Wushuang immediately shouted toward the top of the mountain, "It's now." Huh. Boom. Gula blasted a fist on an afterimage, and Zhen Wushuang had already left. Before he could react, Wu Li rushed over. The 3-foot wooden sword can cut the sky. The wooden sword struck from the depths of the void, and the moment it pierced into the space, the entire infinite world was trembling. At this moment, Wu Li's supernatural power is as high as 1.3 million. Gula was stunned, and hurriedly used the sword with both hands. But when his hands touched the blade, his divine power continued to decline. Shattered the void and pierced the space. How could the power of this sword make Gula stop? Wu Li shot again, several swords slashed out, but the divine power consumed was continuously recovered by the tree man. He was the only opponent who made Gula feel pressured. No one could do it before. In the distance, Bulu and others have begun to merge. When I felt Wu Li's breath, my heart was also extremely shocked. This time, maybe they can really win. And you don't need Zhen Wushuang to win. The Great Elder is also paying attention to this battle. It's also incredible. He couldn't see through Zhen Wushuang. Can't see through Wu Li. In his opinion, Wu Li's potential is not that strong. Maybe in this life, he can't jump out of the 5 tribulations realm. But with the current outbreak, Wu Li's future has begun to change. The 5 tribulations realm changed from a mountain top to a starting point. This is the current change in Wu Lihe. The space shook, and Jian Wushuang had arrived in front of the Great Elder with 4 Dragon Balls. Let's start. He put down the Dragon Ball, Ukanshu. Com and the 5 dragon around the Elder gathered together. The 9 dragon are all together. Before the start, the Elder took a last look at the situation outside and reminded, "Don't be under pressure, this time maybe Wu Li and Bulu will be able to solve the Gula. This is the best." Jian Wushuang nodded. He wished that Wu Li and Bru would succeed. Then he has no worries. The Great Elder didn't say anything. He directly used his thought power to infuse the Dragon Ball, bursting out a powerful breath, directly broke through the house, and flew into the sky. The rules of heaven and earth are instantly separated. The outside world can no longer see the situation here. End of this chapter. Chapter 58-74. Jian Wushuang's figure floated unconsciously. His divine power and origin began to skyrocket. There is no of the supreme rule. He has no limits of any realm. Can practice crazy. Robbery. Jian Wushuang looked up at the sky. Then he said in a deep voice, "I just need to stop the rule immediately. I have to follow this robbery." Originally, according to the plan of the Great Elder, he didn't need to deal with the first difficulty of Tribulation Realm. But now, he felt it unnecessary. The clouds gathered in the sky, from broken to condensed. An extremely dangerous catastrophe is brewing. The Shunmu King and others who were destroying the core of the infinite world were stunned. Suddenly found that the formation could not be destroyed. The entire infinite world is cut off from the outside world. It's that old guy. Shunmu looked embarrassed. Thinking of the Great Elder of the Balunga tribe. The world of infinity is the most special in the world suppressed by the Gumu school. This time the holy meeting, the reason for choosing to be in the infinite world. In fact, there is another conspiracy. Otherwise, Gula won't be messed up. Go to clean up the Gula long ago. Although the robbers could not enter, it was nothing to destroy the formation for the sake of so many masters of the universe. It was the Gumu faction that concealed it, so it didn't go to rescue. On the contrary, it adds to the fire. Their purpose is not to be practitioners. It's Gula. If anyone can defeat Gula, that's fine. The real goal is the 9 Dragon Balls. Go to open a treasure land. That treasure land has a relationship with Wanliu. All this is one bureau. From the beginning, it was linked together. Anyone can sit in the position of the saint. But the opportunity that WN Liu opened was only once. As for why not get together the Dragon Ball by yourself? This is related to the oath in Dragon Ball. The dragon back then took an oath. Only the Great Elder of the Balunga tribe can open it. Gula is just a cover. What they want is to let Elder Balunda unlock the 9 dragon himself. Regardless of the purpose. Which treasure will lead to? Only the appearance of Jian Wushuang disrupted the layout of the Jiu Mu sect. Now it is double happiness. In the eyes of King Shunmu, both benefits are related to Wanliu. Now, he is bound to win. The supreme rule is isolated. That shows that Dragon Ball played a role. It is a pity that they have not yet entered the infinite world. This point made Shunmu Wang's heart a little unstable. Feeling a threat is slowly approaching. He thought this threat was in the infinite world. This is not the case. This threat comes from Barbie Di. It's also just right. Just to give Jian Wushuang a delay. The bias of automobile transportation has come. Dragon Mountain. Jian Wushuang floated in the air, facing the first difficulty. This is the difficulty of hitting the Tribulation Realm. It's also a robbery. Is there really no need to stop? The Great Elder below hesitated, feeling that now is not the time to be a hero. He thought that Jian Wushuang didn't have to fight hard at all. Jian Wushuang faced this difficulty, his complexion was flat, he didn't feel any threat, and said calmly, "I must take up this difficulty, otherwise I won't be able to master the time." The Great Elder was stunned. Although I don't understand, the strength of this Jian Wushuang after breakthrough is related. Don't say anything. Jian Wushuang looked up at the clouds that gathered in the sky. Eyes are like waves, watching the past, and the clouds dissipate. Instead, a great light descended. Covered him directly. The time rule also falls at a speed. For Jian Wushuang, this difficulty is as simple as drinking water. The clouds in the sky disappeared. The supreme rule of isolation is here again. The outside world can again see the situation below. Shunmu Wang and others just saw Jian Wushuang in the sky. This kid is hitting the tribulation realm. He is afraid that he is not crazy, and now he is attacking the tribulation realm. He is not afraid of Gula's destruction. King Shunmu first glanced at Elder Balunga, then looked at Gula, and said, Gula was stopped. Go and check if the one named Wu Li is related to Hungmu. There are more and more surprises now. Hungmu at the time seemed to have been involved in this battle. The treasures he had obtained from Hungmu made him regain his previous ambitions. He also had the confidence to reconcile with the 9-star Zongman Jiyu Yuejiao. How could a big man be subjugated to others? The ancient Wood Holy Land, those 7 Tribulation Realm powerhouses who are still making trouble, are already planning a storm. Now wait for an 8 Tribulations Realm great power to take the lead. The ancestor of the 8 Tribulations Realm of Stone Kingdom will soon come. At the same time, the powerful saboteurs of the major forces are also rushing. When the time comes, the Jiyumu faction can't fool them anymore. While waiting for others, they were also watching Jian Wushuang all the time. After a short interval, when I saw Jian Wushuang again, I was stunned to find that Jian Wushuang was hitting the Jie realm. Obviously, these people can't understand Jian Wushuang's operations. This kid doesn't think that he can defeat Gula by becoming a tribulation realm, right? Tianjiao is like this, always thinking that he can match everything. Wait, he will soon despair. Each of these 7 tribulation realm lords has more than 1 million divine powers. Jian Wushuang didn't pay attention to it at all. Although I saw that Jian Wushuang could burst out in an instant, 800,000 divine power, I thought that that divine power did not belong to Jian Wushuang. Otherwise, why would you have to gather qi in advance? There is still a time limit. What if it breaks through to the robbery realm? They don't think Jian Wushuang can raise his supernatural power to 1 million in a short time. Not to mention how many treasures are needed. Just say that this time is getting too late. Behind these people, Lianxing stared at Jian Wushuang, who was assaulting the tribulation realm, and said secretly, "Little guy, you have too many secrets, I hope you can survive this crisis." Refining stars is not like other Sanjie. Although I have known Jian Wushuang for a short time, I know the strength of Jian Wushuang the most. Dazzling again and again. Jian Wushuang is like the brightest star in the night sky. Maybe it will become a meteor. Maybe it will become the eternal sun and moon. No matter what, he is still optimistic about Jian Wushuang. He didn't move Jian Wushuang because of the power of life. If he needs this kind of life force, he only needs to say it, and someone will send it up. Jian Wushuang was able to survive this crisis. Same thing. If he needs it, Jian Wushuang will give it to him. So there is no need to go to this muddy water. Just watch it. Maybe Jian Wushuang will surprise everyone again. Jian Wushuang who hit the robbery realm. I didn't think about it. Instead, he entered into the rules of time with all his heart. Fusion with time becomes one. At the same time, it also left the mark of the supreme rule on the body. The avenue of time has taken shape. He has already started. In Moro time and space, or the time and space of the primitive universe. He is already in a robbery state. Only now he is in GUU time and space. Chapter 5875. Did not notice the special relationship with the Emperor. It's just that the upper limit of origin and divine power has been improved a bit. The catastrophe is simple, and the most important thing is to condense the universe. One thought of the universe. This time the universe directly covers the entire infinite world. The movement was so loud that all the powerful people from the outside world were suppressed. He has directly become the Lord of the universe. Impossible, the universe is so easy to condense, even if he crosses the 3 tribulations at once, but does not even fall, the universe is condensed. This is different from the rules of Guu time and space. The head teacher of the Guu Mu sect was also watching Jian Wushuang's breakthrough, and he reminded him loudly at this time. Maybe Jian Wushuang is not a practitioner of Guu time and space at all. This sentence awakened everyone. You must have inquired about his fortune, but I have checked the time and space. Jian Wushuang is a reincarnated person, but he has never mentioned the memory of his previous life. Moreover, the reincarnated emperor can reach his level. I am afraid that Guu time and space will not find one. The emperor has hundreds of thousands of divine powers. Whether it is from the long river of history, or the contemporary Guu Yuejiao, no one can compare with Jian Wushuang. After the head of the Gumu school said that, it was indeed the case. They all speculated that Jian Wushuang might have come from the other 8 time and space. In the 9 great time and space, Guu time and space is the weakest. The emperor here cannot be compared. In other time and space, there may be a figure like Jian Wushuang. The emperor is comparable to the 5 tribulations realm. Some people even suspect that Jian Wushuang came from the stars. Anyway, the more you guess, the bigger. Everyone felt that Jian Wushuang's identity was not simple. Don't do it now. Perhaps a certain big man will appear and pick up Jian Wushuang. Think of reincarnation as experience. It's also difficult for the imagination of these strong men. The more you guess, the higher. Just never thought that Jian Wushuang, the ultimate emperor who reversed the rules, could also appear downstream. In an infinite world. One thought of the universe completely let go. Constantly expanding. Until the entire infinite world is wrapped in it. This diameter is much larger than the original universe of the Lord of the 6 Tribulations realm. That's why the strong outsiders were so shocked. This is what happened after he performed the super-eternal change. Otherwise, his universe is at the consummation level, as big as the Lord of the 5 Tribulations realm universe. But after the super-eternal change, it's different. The super-eternal change was actually the source of the increase in the beginning. It's just that his divine power has increased the upper limit because of his breath. During the emperor period, his divine power also surpassed the power of the source. Therefore, I have been calculating my own combat power with divine power. It's different when it comes to the Lord of the universe. This time, his origin will completely surpass divine power. And super-eternal change, the original increase can reach 100-fold. The increase in supernatural power is only 50 times. The first robbery. The breath of his body was shocked, and at this moment his origin was already the pinnacle of the 5 tribulations realm. This has not yet crossed the catastrophe. The calamity of the supreme rule falls directly into the universe. But like a drop of water, it fell into the universe. Negligible. Those strong men who were watching him were all normal at this time. This time I'm not surprised. They felt that Jian Wushuang wouldn't even have a problem in crossing the 5 tribulations. This is just the first tribulation. But while waiting for the catastrophe to pass, Jian Wushuang's increased source was stunned for all of them. Jian Wushuang couldn't help shaking himself. That violent power kept surging up. What? He raised his head and roared, thinking about the universe, once again being true. The origin is expanded again. It's a pity that this place is so big, otherwise his original universe could expand once again. After the baptism of the supreme rule, the number of black holes in the original universe also skyrocketed again. Every time you cross the catastrophe, it will make the source strong. The same is true for the calamity of the divine body. Liang Jie treated his 800,000 divine body like a tickle. There is no harm. Instead, it improved a wave of basic supernatural power. Make him very comfortable. The basic divine power has also come to 450,000. An increase of 50,000 at a time. This is already pretty good. Second calamity, Jian Wushuang spent all his thoughts on the origin universe. There is not too much attention to measuring the robbery. It was almost the same as the first tribulation, without any threat. He just got through it easily. The origin universe is once again true. The number of black holes has also doubled. It seems that the universe that my emperor thought was complete is not the same as after the tribulation realm. The original universe will not change anymore. Unexpectedly, it continues to expand and become stronger. It has now doubled. There are a total of 20,000 black holes. The third tribulation. This time, his universe will become the real universe. It is also a sign that he has reached the Lord of the universe. At this moment, he was extremely excited. Coming to GUU time and space is for the Lord of the universe. The goal is about to be reached now. He is more excited than anyone else. Come on, witness with me. He went up with one hand to welcome the third calamity. Even though those scattered robbery realms from the outside world are bluffing, at the same time, he laughed at Jian Wushuang. Even if you become the lord of the 5 tribulations realm universe, you will be besieged and seized by a group of mighty powers. But in the bottom of my heart, they are very jealous of Jian Wushuang. Why is Jian Wushuang so powerful? Originally, Jian Wushuang was a senior to a junior. But seeing Jian Wushuang's constant strength, he was already approaching them. Be jealous. Lamented that he had become a sabotage, and there was no opportunity for improvement. But it has witnessed Jian Wushuang's strength step by step. The third calamity has begun. As long as the condensed universe is summoned to the real space, this kid will be the master of the universe. Damn it, if he pretended to be, how could he condense such a perfect universe ahead of time? It's really lucky. It's a meteor after all. Many people still mocked coldly. Without even realizing it, in Jian Wushuang's original universe, there is a super-existence that can truly end the 9 great time and space. Origin universe. Tianqing Mountain. Wei stood in front of his manor, holding a scepter in one hand, and watching Jian Wushuang cross the robbery behind the other. Such a big universe, it's not so easy to pull back to reality. Weiss chuckled. UU reading www.ukanshu.com. The third robbery fell. Jian Wushuang originally thought it would be a little different, but when he fell on him, he didn't feel any change. The original universe began to vibrate, and in the end it just doubled the number of black holes in the universe, reaching around 50,000 black holes in Le. The base divine power has also risen to 600,000. But this is not the point. His universe did not become real. This is the key. How is this possible? Jian Wushuang panicked. The strong from the outside world was stunned for a moment, and then started to comment. End of this chapter. Chapter 5876. Haha, I knew that he was so against the sky would accept him, so dumbfounded now. The universe cannot be condensed into reality, it is a bubble. An old man in the 7 tribulations realm looked very comfortable, and said with a strange yin and yang aura, you can't say that. Jian Wushuang is also the number 1 emperor in the entire time and space. By choice, he has the innate vitality and can maintain his peak state all the time. So, isn't he a special life? No, special beings don't need to cross the catastrophe. Jian Wushuang in the infinite world, but his heart is cold. The great elder of the Belunga tribe was also unbelievable. Although he doesn't know much about the Lord of the universe. But common sense is still understood. Seeing that Jian Wushuang had survived the 3 tribulations, but failed to turn the universe into reality. Also understand that it may have failed. Under Dragon God Mountain. Gula hadn't noticed what was happening on the mountain. It just feels like the infinite world has changed colors. I didn't think it was special. Instead, the battle with Wu Li made him a little excited. It's just that Wu Li's divine power is constantly declining. Blue, the time for a stick of incense has passed, haven't you merged yet? Wu Li couldn't hold it anymore. The supernatural power the tree man gave him has fallen to 1.2 million. It's not Gula's opponent at all now. But he had to hold the opponent, and had to fight head-to-head with Gula. Otherwise, the other party will go to trouble with Brew. The integration of Brew's side has also reached the most critical moment. He didn't answer Wu Li, but stared at Wu Li extremely firmly. "I'll give you 10 breaths again." Wu Li forcibly endured the backlash and once again forcibly increased his divine power. Tree people are also constantly injecting divine power. Otherwise, Wu Li would have finished. The divine power injected is completely different from the divine power stimulated by oneself. It is no longer possible to distinguish between congenital and acquired. It's like a well, and there will be a steady stream of spring water from the ground. The current Wu Li is just a dry well, but someone pours water from a river into his well. How could he not be uncomfortable? The body is almost destroyed by the tree man. Can you still improve? Gula found that Wu Li's divine power had risen to a level again, somewhat surprised. Back to 1.3 million. He didn't think there was any fun this time. It was a little jealous of Wu Li gathering chi with one hand. A wave of light rushed out. He followed Guangbo and rushed towards Wu Li. He suddenly wanted to resolve the battle quickly. Because Bruce is still fusing. In case something happens and it is overturned by these people, that's not good. Although Gula was waved ahead, once he made up his mind. The person he wants to defeat must die. Wu Li was also bewildered by the unexpected attack. Hurriedly held the sword to split and got the light wave condensed by divine power. But Gula had already arrived in front of him at this time, placed one hand in front of Wu Li, and the light waves condensed at close range directly blasted on Wu Li's face. Boom! Wu Li's body was blasted back quickly. The divine power just mentioned began to waver again. But Gula's supernatural power is constantly rising. It has reached 1.35 million. Now Wu Li completely imagined Jian Wushuang's words. After the transformation, the frozen demon race has improved a lot. On the way back, Gula appeared behind him ahead of time, and directly blocked his blasted body with a punch. This punch directly caused Wu Li's divine body to crack. The ascended divine power began to languish rapidly. "My lord, if you want to die with 9 breaths, you won't be able to resist 10 breath." Gula sneered, and his arm directly strangled Wu Li's neck. The other hand was constantly bombarding Wu Li's back. Wu Lilian couldn't spit out blood. A hole was cut in his chest. The physical body is okay, and there is a hole that can recover quickly. But there was a hole in the divine body, and it was over. This is equivalent to his dry well, sealed. The divine power directly began to decline. Even 1 million can't be maintained. "It's over," Wu Li said secretly. The tree man was also panicked at this time. Unexpectedly, this time it was really a big game. "You can only use that trick." Shoran's voice sounded in Wu Li's mind. Wu Li gritted his teeth, knowing that there was no other choice now. If he didn't perform that trick, he died. What was lost was just a treasure. If you are not willing, you will lose 2 lives. 1 corpse, 2 lives. They are finished, Bulu will be finished, and Dragon God Mountain will disappear. Jian Wushuang? Thinking of Jian Wushuang, Wu Li hesitated. After such a long time, he felt that Jian Wushuang should be about to break through. Fight. The aura on Wu Li's body suddenly changed, and a ghost fell from the sky. The catkins flutter, and the power is infinite. Hum. A sound of resonance from heaven and earth sounded. Shook the entire infinite world. Gula, let you, a frog at the bottom of the well, see the real fear in this world. After Wu Li finished speaking, he quickly lifted his figure back. Only a sapling was left on the spot. The sapling of that class is constantly growing. A life force is also erupting. That is the life force released by the tree man. Let that sapling keep growing. A grass. It can cut the sun, the moon, and the stars, and it can also give birth to all things in the universe. Hum. In the blink of an eye, the sapling turned into a towering giant tree. After a breath of time, he reached the realm of a catastrophe. Between the 3 breaths, his supernatural power broke 1 million. That terrifying power is still skyrocketing. What is this? Gula didn't dare to be careless, and quickly backed away. But he seemed to have entered a maze, unable to escape the encirclement of catkins. Giant willow grows. Divine power gathered to 1.4 million. Countless catkins began to wrap the Gula. Gula also felt the terrifying power. Never. 4 million supernatural powers, this is enough to make him seriously injured. This time, you can't resist hard. Even though he was fast enough, he still couldn't break free of that restraint. The sapling grows into a giant willow, overlapping with the phantom. After the Gula was completely restrained, there was a sound that shook the world. Rumble. The goodness of the entire Dragon God World car was turned into ruins. Utkanshu. There are only peaks left on Longshan Mountain. Below it is a big hole with no bottom. Gula's figure also disappeared. Wu Li panted heavily, already running out of strength. After the breath calmed down, Dan Bao rushed towards Wu Li quickly. Seeing Dan Bao coming over, Wu Li laughed and said, "Fortunately, I have you, otherwise I will really lose out this time." Touched Dan Bao's round head and laughed. Dan Bao could only touch Wu Li's knee with his hand, and grabbed Wu Li's thigh and began to recover from Wu Li's injury. End of this chapter. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.